There's a housing crash, they told us in 2020. No, wait, it's going to happen in 2021. Hold on, it's happening in 2022, or 100% sure it's going to crash in 2022. I think I've heard this story before. Have you? In 2023, they told us for real this time. I mean, even a broken clock gets it right 2 times a day. The truth, I'm making this video to educate the public because I want to show you the real numbers to what's really happening. And this is the stuff that no one else tells you about. And I want you to avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So give me a thumbs up if you're good with that. Now, there are 4 major companies that just updated their forecast for home prices in 2023. And guess what? Their forecast went up a lot. What? How can that possibly be? They kept telling us prices were crashing. Well, the truth is, it's happening. So let's start off with Zillow. Now, every couple months, they have a report and they project what's going to happen with real estate. And in the beginning of 2023, they said that prices would drop by 1.1%. But guess what happened? Prices did not drop. They actually went up. And 30 days ago, Zillow said prices were going to go up by 3.9% for the entire year. And then 30 days later, they revised their forecast again. And now guess what? They're saying by the end of 2023, prices will be up 5% for the total of the year. Now, on top of that, they're forecasting typical home values to rise by 6.6% from July 2023 through July 2024. Are they out of their freaking mind? How can they say such a thing? Look, you know the gurus have been preaching and praying for a recession, depression, and crash for the last 4 years. So, how can Zillow predict that prices are going to go up? The truth is, people still need a place to call home. So what is Zillow actually looking at that others just can't even see? Well, it's about giving them upward numbers, right? Well, they're pulling these actual numbers from actual sales that have closed from all transactions, from all brokerages in every state in the nation. Now, we all know that real estate is hyper-local, and what's happening in one part of the country may not be happening necessarily in another part. But when you put all these numbers together collectively, that's when you can really focus and see what's really happening. But wait, there's more. Several other big companies are revising their numbers and forecast as well. Now, earlier in the year, CoreLogic forecast a 1.6% growth in home prices. And now they revised that number to 4.3% year-over-year growth through June of 2024. Now, Goldman Sachs also no longer expects home prices to decline. Their analysts are now anticipating home prices to trend higher by 1.8% by the end of 2023. And even Morgan Stanley has upgraded their market predictions. But some real estate geniuses who have congested YouTube with the housing crash hysteria are now walking it back and saying that they were wrong. Here's the truth. Here's the facts. Homes that are overpriced are taking price reductions because they were fishing for the big bucks and they were overpriced anyway. But the problem is we still have a super low amount of inventory on the market, right? So mortgage rates are at 7.5%, and affordability after years of inflation is absolutely nuts. But with all of these things happening at the very same time, guess what? Behind the curtain, there's something peculiar that's happening silently. It's a huge manipulation of the housing market. So what's really going on with real estate and home prices? Here's the info in descending order. Number 4, buyer demand. Now, interest rates have gone up, right? Which reduces affordability and has completely taken some buyers out of the house buying market, even though they may want to buy a house on their own. So think about this, guys. On the surface, by itself, it seems like people coming out of the market would significantly decrease the demand, and that should crash the market, right? Yet, everyone needs a place to call home. So my favorite way to look at this is to see what's actually really going on behind the curtain, is to look at the actual numbers of showings on homes that are for sale by agents and brokers all over the nation. Now, this is like a batting average statistic. So this measures the number of buyers who are out there looking. Now look at these numbers. Now this is information the public usually doesn't see because it's between agents and brokers. This is the showing time showing index, which measures the showing traffic per residential property for sale. So this is the West region report, and I want to show you this because the numbers were down in 21, 22, but they're up for the number of showings in 2023. And if you look at June and July, those numbers are up significantly from previous years. If we look at the Northeast region report for showing time showing index, again, these numbers are up for May, June, and July significantly from the previous years. Number 3, supply inventory. Now, let's compare the number of homes that are for sale at any given time. So the data shows that the number of homes for sale is extremely low. This is compared to normal times. And inventory has not increased for all of 2023. And the number of homes that are on the market for sale has actually dropped again. So if the housing market was crashing, wouldn't we see a flood of homes hitting the market, right? That's what the real estate crash geniuses love to talk about, but that's not been happening because many people are locked in on these super low interest mortgage rates. And they're not moving, and they're not putting their house up for sale. So as you can see, the housing market has been manipulated. Now let me show you this graph. It's from Dow Jones and CoreLogic. Now first off, housing supply remains tight. The number of existing homes that are for sale is around 1 million right now. But inventory was closer to 2 million homes pre-pandemic in regular times. Can you see how this housing market has been manipulated? Why is this happening? And why are so few homes available for sale compared to any regular time? Now, just look back a few years ago. Do you remember when pandemic times hit? You know, everyone was fleeing and the demand was high. Now, take a look at the number of homes that were on the market for sale back then. Now compare it to the number of homes now. We have dropped even further. Supply is excessively low. So with this low number of homes for sale and all the other issues that are going on right now, who in their right mind is buying and moving right now? Guess what? People who are moving right now are those that may be flush with cash. And some of those people, they may have even saved and invested for years and they're retiring now. And they may want to move to a better area with lower costs and warmer weather and lower taxes. Nothing is stopping them. Others who have a growing family, they need that space or they need that school district. You're not going to turn that off. And some just need to downsize and cut costs. And that's 100% happening as well. Which leads me to number 2, the bad news and the good news. Which one do you want first? Okay, so the total inventory of existing homes for sale dropped 15% year over year. Now think about that. The lack of existing homes on the market. It's crazy times, right? When have you ever had so few sellers who are putting their house on the market for sale right now? And of course we all know why, right? You know, many current homeowners are not getting off of those super low 3% mortgage rates. Can you blame them? Now, those homeowners are staying put and they don't have any motivation to sell. So those houses will not be coming to market for quite some time. But to help make up for that, guess what? Fortunately, we've got new home builds that are making up to 1/3 of all houses for sale on the market. Now, if we did not have that inventory, prices would be even higher and we would have even fewer homes available for sale. And now that leads us up to number 1. Now you must keep a few things in mind if you're looking to buy a house in the next few years, because over the next few years, you've got to have a long-term plan, because you got to look at the number of homes that were built over the last 10 years. Compared to the number of affordable homes that are actually needed. Here's the fact. Between 2012 and 2022, 15.6 million households were formed. But during that same period, only 11.9 million housing units were completed. Do you see a problem here? We're short big time, right? So future buyers may not see this inventory in their price range. In some areas, you may not see it at all. And you could have a hard time finding a good house before someone else scoops it up. But the government has raised interest rates in order to cool inflation, right? And the government failed to take into account the fact that builders are delaying many of these building projects. Why would builders build when they have that demand, right? It doesn't make sense. Well, this is due to the high cost of borrowing, which is affecting them too, and their projects as well. So, do you see the long-term problem here? Can you see a huge compounded issue? There's a manipulation of this housing market. Now, this lack of supply will make even higher housing costs for years to come. Now, higher rates affect the builders who will build fewer houses with higher construction costs and fewer homes coming to market. And no one is talking about this. This is why I'm letting you know what's going to happen in the future. Now, there's a big migration happening at the same time. Americans continue to move to states like South Carolina, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. And these southern states have a super active real estate market. Now, until inventories are replenished to keep up with that buyer demand, and until surplus of homes comes back on the market, we're probably going to be seeing home prices continue to increase. But there's one tool that positions us to see patterns that we might not see otherwise, that are invisible in present time. You know what that tool is? It's called history. And there's a very important historical real estate event that happened in history that most people don't even remember, for whatever reason that is. In 1979, inflation was absolutely out of control, even with a recession. Home prices actually shot up in the US from 1970 to 1982, with the median home price appreciating by 159%, even with a crappy economy. But here's the truth. Is the market going to go down, or is the market going to go up? Only time will tell. Nobody knows. But one thing's 100% for sure. No matter what's going on, good or bad economy, there's never the best time to buy. It just isn't. Buying a house has never been affordable at any time in history. But we all need a place to call home. Every single day, people tell me about their regret. You know, they tell me, oh, I wish I would have bought back then. Oh, I woulda, I coulda, I shoulda. Or they tell me, hey, do you remember when those things were going for? Yep, I sure do remember that. But guess what? Even though they were cheap by today's standards, they were not considered affordable even back then either. It's called history, guys. So, the question I have for you is, what do you think prices are going to look like 10 years from now? How about 15 years from now? What are they going to look like? Or 20 years from now? That's where your vision gets really clear, and you can see that future. Now, it doesn't matter if the economy is up or the economy is down. It doesn't matter. We all have the same 24 hours, but it's all about priorities. And if it's your time in life, guess what? It's your time. Was any of this information helpful? Now, I've got another question for you. Have you seen any 90% off homes for sale yet? I haven't. Now, tell me what's going on in your area. I am curious to see what you're seeing in your area. We're still finding some hidden gems here for our clients, if you know what to look for and what to stay away from. But I'm making these videos for you, so if you have questions, we have answers. My real estate team is here to help you avoid the pitfalls that are costly. So pick up the phone, give us a call at 843-839-9870. And if you subscribed, guess what? I'm going to see you in the next video. Take care, guys.